Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to share with you the only two things that you must do to overcome driving anxiety. Number one, you need to accept that driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. The people who don't accept this are the ones who don't get the result. So let me explain this. When you drive, the feelings that you're experiencing, the panic attacks, the sweaty palms, whatever symptoms you have, they are just symptoms of another problem. It is nothing to do with driving. So stop wasting your time with driving lessons, driving instructors, exposure therapy, talking about driving. It is nothing to do with driving. And people go one of two ways when I say this. Some people say, oh, okay, so what is it? Well, if you think that, you're going the right way. If you say, no, you're wrong, because when I drive my car, I get nervous, and it's driving, because it's only when I drive, and it started when I start driving, and it's after a crash. No, it's nothing to do with driving. And until you accept that, you are never going to fix it. If you don't believe me, fine. If you don't accept that it's nothing to do with driving, you will never fix it. So the first thing you need to do is understand and accept that driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. Let me give you an example away from driving, because if it's just all about driving, that can be a bit confusing, because that's the problem you've got. So let's take an example of someone who smokes, because I've worked with many therapists who deal with stop smoking. One of the most common reasons that people start smoking is because of social acceptance. This goes back centuries. It's just programmed into the human psyche that we all want to be accepted. People are scared of not being in a group. That's why gangs are popular. That's why social media is popular, because people want to come together and be in a group. It comes from ancient times when humans were hunted by animals, and we used to live in cities with big walls around the edge, so we were safe from animals and safe from invaders. And if you got thrown out of that walled city, you were in big trouble, because you'd probably not survive. Now that was centuries ago, but it's still ingrained in the human mind. So the reason many people smoke is simply because when they were at school, or maybe when they was at work, or whenever they'd started smoking, they were accepted for doing that. They were in the cool gang with the cool kids who smoked around the back of the bike sheds. They weren't with the nerds who were getting good grades and would go on to have good jobs and have a good life. They wanted to be with the cool kids in the gang, so they started smoking. Years later, their mind still thinks that they need to be in that cool gang. Now, of course, this is nonsense, because it's a load of rubbish, but their mind still thinks that. So you see, if you're a smoker and you just buy these patches and you just try and stop smoking by stop buying them, it won't work, because the real problem is nothing to do with smoking. The smoking was all about social acceptance. So what you need to do is find out where that came from, like joining the cool kids at school. You work through that in therapy, rethink it, release the emotion attached to it, and the problem goes, and you stop smoking. So smoking has nothing to do with smoking, in the same way driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. Any good therapist knows that the problem is never the problem. So that's number one. You need to accept that driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. And if you don't accept that, bye, go and enjoy your problem, come back in years' time when you do accept it, and then you'll be able to fix it. But the problem is, how do you fix it? Well, this is what people say, okay, I get this, but how do I fix it? Well, that's point two, and this is one that a lot of people don't like, but before you get angry, please listen to what I'm going to say. Number two is you need to take therapy. Now everyone says, oh, well, I'm not going to pay for therapy. Oh, it's a rip-off, it's a con, it's a scam. Oh, I'm not going to a therapist. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't need a therapist. Well, there are two ways this can go. Firstly, I would like to point out that I have spent the last 4 years of my life making free videos for people. There are currently 12 free hypnosis tracks. You can do it for free. And if you doubt whether or not they work, look at the most popular one at the top of the page. As I record this, it's had 61,000 views. It's had over 1,000 likes and over 100 comments. Do you think over 1,000 people would have liked it if it didn't work? Do you think over 100 people would have commented if it didn't work? It works, and I give away tons for free. Right, you can fix your problem with my therapy for free. So if you want to go and do that, go and do the videos. Now I do say on that page that they're nothing like a session, and that's true. It's nothing like a session. I'm not going to tell you to lie down and close your eyes and be calm in a session, because that's not the style of therapy I use. I use mainly conversation to fix a problem, but you can't have a conversation through a YouTube video. So yes, those videos are good. Yes, they can work. But if that doesn't work, then come to me for therapy. It's the same for everything. I've paid for therapy. I've paid way more. Believe me, I've paid way more than I charge for therapy. I had a time back in 2019, just a few weeks before Christmas, I had a leaking roof and I had to pay thousands to a roofer to come and repair it. If a job needs doing, you need to get a professional who can do the job properly. Many people who don't want to take therapy, it falls again into one of two categories. One is because they're in denial that they need therapy, so they just think, I don't need therapy, I don't need that, it's not for me, there's nothing wrong with me, it's just driving. Well, if you think it's just driving, you're back at step one. The other reason is that people have a poverty mindset. This is when people constantly throughout their life just think that they'll never have money and they have to buy the cheapest version of everything, and they're always looking for alternatives. So instead of going out and buying the action camera that they really want, they'll buy a cheap knockoff. Instead of buying a TV that they want, they'll buy a cheap knockoff, the same size but different, and they convince themselves that it's the same when it's not. You get what you pay for in life, and people who have a poverty mindset, they always think no one's got any money, I'll never have any money, I'm stuck in this job, I'll never be able to do this. Can you not see that's what your problem is? You see, it's not driving anxiety. Your unwillingness to spend money on yourself and to invest in yourself is the problem. That can often come from a lack of love for yourself, which can often come from a lack of love from your parents. And I won't get too deeply into this, but people now start waving their arms and saying, my parents love me, how dare you say that? No, that's not how it works. Many problems in people's lives come from things like the parents not giving them the attention they need. It can just be something like you wanted a hug and you never got one. You wanted a certain games console and they wouldn't buy it you. Can you now see why you've got poverty mindset and driving anxiety? You see, this is a level of therapy we work to. It's not just your basic close your eyes, go into a trance and all that stuff. A true therapist like myself knows how to get to the root cause of the problem, and you see how it goes so deep. And some of you watching this will already have started to have things clicking in your mind about why your life is the way it is, maybe why you're trapped in that 9-to-5 job that you hate. Does it all start to make sense now? And people say they're completely changing their whole life and being able to drive and love themselves and being able to make more money. Apparently, that isn't worth the cost of therapy. But they'll go and pay someone on the high street 20 quid for an hour to lie down and to be told to move their eyes left and right and think about unicorns. If you're not willing to invest in yourself, then how can you expect to overcome this problem? So those are the two things you do to overcome driving anxiety, and I would like to add, most problems in your life. 1. Accept that driving anxiety has nothing to do with driving. 2. Take therapy to find out what the problem really is and release it. And if anyone asks me, how do I fix it? How do I get rid of it? Why can't you just make a video to fix it? This video explains why. So do these others on the screen now, so check them out. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon for more videos.